Assalamualaikum guys, welcome to another Dragon Ball FighterZ character breakdown video. This time breaking down the Millennium Old Assassin that can play with time hit. So without further ado, let's get into it. So continuing with our usual template for the character breakdown, first we'll go through his specials, then buttons and block strings, neutral, and then finishing it off with assist. So first up, Hit is actually a grounded character. Like, he does not have any specials in the air, like none, except I guess you can say that the special button counter that he has, but that isn't exactly a special, that's just a single button move. So yeah, he's solely a grounded character, but with the advantage of like most of them reaching full screen or close to full screen. That's the, I guess, advantage he has, but the disadvantage is that he's kinda immobile in the air.
Here it comes. Over here.
So first up is the quarter cycle forward attack special. This is the vital point stance, or rather it's called the vital point attack, but we'd like to call it the stance or like the vital point stance. So if you do the quarter circle forward attack button special, then Hit will float his hands in the pocket and then he'll wait for input. So if you do the light input after doing the vital point stance, then he does the direct attack, which he just goes with a vital point hit, I mean a direct hit. Then there's the medium variant, which is the instant hit, and then there's the EX variant, which is the guard breaker. The EX variant is actually a sort of a DP, but the caveat of it is that it's not a first frame DP, since you have to do get into the battle point stance and after then do the guard breaker. Therefore, it's not a true DP in that sense. So the direct hit does not travel full screen. It almost travels like about 75% of the screen. It travels close to like 70 to 80% of the screen. 80% of the screen will just take it, and it does not give you any sort of animation, and it's just a simple sliding knockdown. It actually like has a really high hitbox, and this is one of the reasons why Hit players like to use this like for using it like during uptakes, like to catch uptakes. This is a really good tool because like it like reaches really high. I mean, like it will catch your opponent like quite high, like to like almost a jump height. Therefore, like it's a much more favorable move to use when they're like in the air or like when they're falling down. It's pretty good, and if they do block jumping, then you'll definitely plus on block. It's actually only -2, and yeah, and that's I guess some things I guess. And then there's the second hit. Then there's the second variant, which is the direct, which is the instant hit. The instant hit will give you a sliding knockdown if you haven't used the sliding knockdown animation before. Hit actually could give you a wall bounce as well, and then also give you a wall bounce. And I don't remember if he also used to give like a sliding knockdown, but I think the sliding knockdown was actually added new, which is, I don't get it, like couldn't they like have made it so that if he has smash animation, then he could get a wall bounce in the corner, and then he could also end his combos with the direct hit to like end in a slide knockdown. I mean, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta can do it with his medium lariat, so I don't understand why Hit cannot do that as well. But yeah, this move travels full screen and is a bit on the slower side. It's not as fast as the direct hit, but it's instant nonetheless because Hit disappears for a while. And then there's the last move, which is the guard breaker. The guard breaker, as I've said, is actually a invincible move, like a pseudo DP, but the caveat of it being is that it's not actually a full DP, since you have to get in the stance first, then you have to do the input, and then you have to do the guard breaker input. And similar to direct hit, also travels like about 75% to 80% of the screen, and gives you a huge I mean bounce, or like kicks him up really high in the air, therefore allowing you to convert in different ways and then end in however fashion you want. You can even end it in Dragon Rush as well, so that's good as well, and that will I guess give you the initial properties. And on block, the direct hit or the light button release actually will give you is -2 on block, so it's backdashable, and it's also fast enough to be part of a true block string because it starts up at 15 frames, and the special cancels are much faster now. The instant hit actually 18 frames of startup and -4 on block, therefore safe as well. And same goes for his Same goes for his guard breaker, which is like DP and starts at 17 frames. Like if you do it as fast as possible, then in a block string you'll get it in 17 frames, and it's fully true on. It's fully invincible, except for the startup for the battle point stance. That's the only part where it's not invincible. So the invincible thing works in the sense that because of the stance input, you're getting a delay, and therefore it's not a full DP. So I guess that's the caveat to the DP that he has, or the pseudo DP, I guess. But even though it's fully invincible, it's actually only -5, therefore you can block in time or be a typical hit player and just reflect reflect 2M. Reflect 5M. That's the hit special. So that'll do it for the battle point stance. So moving on to the other two buttons, that is the medium and the heavy button that wasn't included in the battle point stance. The medium variant will give you the Tides of Time and the X variant as well. The Tides of Time is a stance where hit is fully invincible. So any and all types of attack will go through him when he is in the stance. Even supers as well will go through him, whether it be a projectile or anything else, even Kamehamehas and etc. So like this is a cool thing that he has to him. It's similar to the Goku versus Hit rematch after the tournament, where he uses this move. So the first stance cancel. So the first stance cancel is the release of the times, which he throws out a full range full screen attack, varying tracking to the opponent as well as it can. It will track to the opponent's position. Like it does track pretty well, I'd say, but it kind of leaves some to be desired. And you have the ability to vary which type of attack you get. And as I said, like the tracking isn't exactly the best in this case, so be a bit mindful of that. If you do up forward and then do the light button, then you'll get the upward strike. If you just press the light button, then you'll get a horizontal strike. And if you do the down button, if you hold down and then press the light button, then you'll get a downward strike, which is actually an overhead. You'll have to be standing up to block that. So that's also one thing you need to notice. The Tides of Time are definitely unsafe as hell. Just to be clear, like it's -18 up close, so be careful of that. And also hit players really like to vanish after it, and to be clear, it's actually not a true on block. So no matter how hard you match vanish, you can easily reflect it. Be wary of that. Like it's not true on block. It's not true on block to a vanish, so reflect whenever they vanish. I know a lot of hit players like to just vanish after doing that, but yeah, if they do catch you jumping, then you're kind of screwed. But then they can do the vanishing. But if you're grounded and they try to vanish on you, then you can reflect them. The medium cancel is the instant hit, but this time the instant hit actually will cross up. So it will hit cross up, and therefore it will always go full screen because it's a cross up. And then there's the guard breaker as well, which is also a cross up, and it retains the invincibility, or the DP property that it has, that it's fully invincible. So you also have that option. And then the medium variant actually starts up very slow. The invincibility starts very slow. I don't know how slow that is. I'm not sure, but I don't know. So that's that. And the EX variant actually, the invincibility starts up very fast. The invincibility starts up at 4 frames, so that means you can actually stance cancel their buttons. If they try to match buttons on you or do DPs or etc, whatever they try to do, you can definitely stance up, and they'll have to respect it or be a scrub and mash and get punished by you. So they have two options. So yeah, it's a 4 frame reversal or counter, whatever you want to call it. Hit becomes invincible at 4 frames. Therefore, you can escape the vanish situations if you have half a bar. So that's pretty cool. And the thing and the button that is shared across all of the moves, or all of the quarter circle moves, is the stance cancel, which you can do by pressing the special button. The special button does not have any sort of moves attached to the stances. Therefore, he simply just cancels stance. And lately, after the recent buff, it's actually very fast. It's actually very fast, and you're only -9 if you do a stance cancel. So you get the point.
Let's begin.
So that's it's really fast now. And it's so fast that like if you do medium and then immediately cancels the stance, the invincibility doesn't even start. I'm doing the medium variant and then cancelling it, so like I can cancel before the timestamp even starts, bro. It's that fast now. Like that's stupid. I got actually confused when I first saw this. I'm like, wait, what? Oh, where's my time? But yeah, it works like that, and with the EX variant, it's actually much more like with the medium variant, it's actually even bonkers, bro. Like it's -2 in a block string. Oh my lord, it's so fast. Heat is now fully low record, bro. So like the EX stance cancel with the cancel is like bonkers, bro, bonkers, and like yeah. So the EX stance cancel being so fast, and you can just do this. It's so cool, bro. Like it's so fast. And yeah, so that'll do it for the quarter circle button attack button specials. On the quarter circle back attack button special, this is the icy glare, which is his command grab. Like he actually will just put his hands back in their pocket and then summon an ice ground or icy ground. So basically you sleep, you lose. SLIP. So yeah, it's basically his grounded command grab. The special thing that all of the variants share is that you can actually hold this move and it'll try to reach the full screen, but it won't. It does not. For the medium variant does. The medium variant will be able to like cover the entirety of the screen, like because it starts at full screen anyways. But the light variant will not be able to, and it will just reach short. So that's kind of a sad thing. The EX variant is also able to do it, but it does not actually start up on full screen. The medium variant does start up on full screen. So you effectively have a full screen command grab with the medium variant, but it is the slowest variant out of the variants, I guess, and you won't be able to use it in a Blockstring. So that's, I guess, another bummer, I guess. But yeah, it's 33 frames, 26, and the EX being the best of both worlds. So 24 frames, and you're also able to convert as well, which you are not able to do with either the light or the medium variant. Like you'll have to vanish if you want to confirm with the light and medium variant. But with the EX variant, you don't even have to think about it. So that's a plus point as well. And yeah, I guess there's nothing more to add for the icy glare. I guess it's basically a normal command grab. So moving on to the quarter circle forward special. First is the quarter circle forward special button, which is the deadly intent, which is he just runs through projectiles, like any sort of projectiles, beams or key blaster, etc. And he'll go full screen and he's actually behind the opponent. So this is basically his replacement for not having any sort of key blast or beams in neutral. So instead he'll just run through others, I guess. That's his plan, I guess, and it's I guess works. It works. The special thing about this move is that when you do this move, he'll automatically be in the light stance, which is the vital point stance. He'll automatically be in the vital point stance, and if you after you've inputted the move, and if you press like the medium or the EX, then he'll be going into the tide of time stance. And if you do the EX variant, then you'll have the advantage of the time stance coming up earlier. And if you do the medium variant, then you'll get the slower variant. Of course, you're able to cancel immediately now due to the like fast cancel now that he has. So this is, I guess, overlooking the fact that he does not have any sort of like move to counter projectiles with. I guess this is good. This is good. Like there is a bit of like what you call that, bit of skill ceiling to be had, because like you're trying to do a good input into not messing up your input. And so yeah, I mean, it's a good move, but risky nonetheless. So, and when I'm talking about like supers, it can also run through projectile supers as well. So supers like Kamehameha, he can also run through them as well. It's not just limited to like special buttons as well. So any sort of projectile super, he'll also be able to run through them as well, and that includes any sort of assist as well, since all projectiles are now, all assists are now projectiles. Therefore, under the last special, which is the mark of an assassin, he takes a back step with his time ability, I guess, and therefore he's like projectile invincible when he's doing that. Therefore any sort of assist call or like projectiles or like key blast, I mean any sort of assist call and projectile he'll be able to avoid. So if the split finger shot, he'll be able to avoid them because he's not in that dimension anymore. And it's a good it's good. I mean it's a good move to be just able to reset your pressure. You will be able to do it. You're able to do it anytime, like after in a block string or whenever you want. Not after the stance cancel though. There is no such stance cancel as doing like this. No, there is no. You will have to be either doing that, and then if you remember, if you don't mix up your input, then you'll be able to do that.
Let's begin.
I mixed it up 3 times there.
Let's begin.
Oh my god.
Let's begin.
So yeah, the one complaint that I have with the deadly intent is like instead of like speeding up this move, couldn't they have made it so that we can like cancel hit steps or like wherever where hit stops we can, I mean like control that. Like let's say after one step we decide to cancel, then this could have worked out so good for him, bro. Like he would have been able to do so good mix-ups, 50-50, I mean like easy side switch, easy double side 50-50s, bro. But we can't have it all, therefore that's what we're stuck with. So although it's not a special move, but I'll include it anyways. There's the special button for hit, which is his time counter. So hit actually leaves a like fake copy of himself, and it's a 4-frame counter. Unfortunately, it's not frame 1. So like after I vanish, you'll be able to use this move, and the counter will give you a soft knockdown. And after the soft knockdown, you have the ability to just be able to cancel out into any of the stance cancel. So yeah, there are some like potential to it. The grounded version, at least the ground version, so the problem with the grounded version is that they actually made it much more slower. It's now 32 frames. So now there is the possibility of you not being able to punish it properly. Like if they like, let's say they throw out a key blast, then you counter it, they'll be able to block in time. Before it was much more faster, therefore a lot of things could be punished then, but now it's not the case. So yeah, that's a bit of a sad thing that has happened to it. But after the counter, you still have the ability to cancel out into any of the stances, into either of the stances, and then do the stance shenanigans. So you still kind of have the advantage there. But the sad part is that since you countered them, you should have like an immediate bonus, instead of them being able to block. So I guess that's a bit of a risk-reward thingy ratio that he has kind of skewed to, not to his end but to his opponent's end, kinda. But yeah, it's what it is. And the aerial version, while it does not like counter with a physical strike, but it actually teleports you behind the opponent and allows you to like punish them pretty damn sickly, bro. Like that's so damn cool, bro. And like you can easily punish like the vanishes or the super dashes that people like to do. So like this is like the hit player classic. If you like let any guy super dash at you with when you're playing hit and you're in the air, like you fail as a hit player. That's like the unspoken rule in the hit guide in the book of hit players. You cannot let any guy super dash at you. This is just against the rules. So yeah, that's the, I guess, air counter, and that'll be all for hit specials. So continuing with the specials for just a bit more, I'm going to talk about the supers just because hit supers has like a gimmick to it. The normal level 1 with the quarter circle forward attack, with the quarter circle forward and the Dragon Rush button, you can do this both in the air and on the ground. You should have seen that. But the other variant, that is the quarter circle forward and the super dash button, this is the shotgun that we like to call it, but the time attack or the time strike, I guess, or like the it's called the death blow in the game officially. So the death blow, the gimmick is that you can use all 7 bars or like the amount of bars that you have. So like whenever you do this, he'll use all of the bars he has. So, and and depending on the bar he has, he will get a substantial boost to his damage improvement. Like with 5 bars he's got almost 5000, with 1 bar he'll did only 2000, and with 7 bars he'll do even more. I mean with 7 bars he does 6000, so you get the point. Like the with the amount of bars that you spend on this move, you'll get the amount that amount of and the level 3 is pretty standard. Like it's a full screen leashing level 3, grounded, and has got some pretty good frames and a pretty cool animation as well. Like you've got a lot of like advantage frame, like about 44 frames, which is standard, which used to be the standard, and which is pretty good for a level 3. So you're able to do run up to him and etc. You can do a lot of stuff like hits level 3. Oki is pretty good, and that'll conclude all the specials. So moving on to the buttons and blockstring section, this is the section I'd say he actually shines the most, because his buttons are like his neutral and everything he do is physical. So yeah, he is like hit is his buttons, to be honest. And so starting with the 5L or the standing light, which is now 6 frames and 0 on block, because he does not have any sort of low, a true low that is. He has a 2M, but like it's 27 frames, and like a decent player will always block it unless they are caught off surprise. So yeah, so the 5L or the standing light is actually 0 on block and 6 frames of startup. Has got it's like standard, the range is standard, and like it also now has a 4L. Before it did not have a 4L extension, so you can also like hold back and do double jabs, which you couldn't do before. This was added after season 2, I believe. And then the second hit of the light auto combo is like the I don't know, bonker switching light move. Like this switches a lot far, and this switches from like I'd say after a vanish reflect it will still catch you, and it's -5 on block as well. The last hit of the auto combo is also -5 as well, and on hit it will do a side switch shenanigan, which you can actually cancel before to your liking. So like you can actually cancel amidst the side switch, but if you let it go on, then he will hit the way he was originally hitting. So that's I guess one more tool that he has, but on block that those animations do not occur. So I guess not such a mix of one, but like a good reset tool to be had. And as I've said, the second hit of the light auto combo it reaches far enough to be able to punish the reflex stuff. It is like fully anti-reflect. Like you cannot reflect this man at all. So under the crouching light, this is the overhead strike that he does. It will actually punch your head in, and so this is an overhead strike. And it also got a recent buff. It's like -7 on block and pretty slow. But the recent buff that he has is that he can actually do two of them in a row now. So like if you hold down you hold down and then press the jab or the light button twice, then he'll actually do 2 overhead strikes. So this actually kinda assists his like stagger game. Like you can scare your opponent by doing this, then switching up into the low medium, which is still very slow. But I mean both of these buttons are playable, and like the second variant also hits at 20 frames, even though the first variant also hits at 20 frames. So and on hit it's actually kind of troublesome because like you cannot like what do you call that, I mean vanish confirm it or like confirm in any way possible. Like it's not confirmable. So like even if you do hit them, your best option is to be like getting back to them by using the vital point stance or doing something like that. It's more of a reset tool than that, and just a fear inducer. It's like 6M, I guess. In a way it's like 6M. You cannot really confirm it by any means. Even spark as well, like even with spark you cannot confirm it. There's like no method of confirmation for this. This is like weird as hell. I don't know why it's like the way it is, but yeah, it's not confirmable. So yeah, I mean the only I guess benefit is that after the like soft reset you can actually immediately 2M and it will be a meaty 2M. So that's the I guess only advantage I know of at least. But for fear inducing, yeah, it's a pretty good move. Then onto the medium, he actually only has one medium. We do not talk about the down medium because it does not exist. So in a block string, like if you keep hitting the medium, then he actually does not do the 2M. Instead he just does the 5H. or the 5 heavy or the standing heavy, and not the crouching medium. So like that's one thing to take note of. The standing medium is actually a pretty good button. Like he was the original Vegito before Vegito was introduced. I mean the Vegito's standing medium was introduced. From the round start distance, it can reach the opponent like at 11 frames, even the Vegito does at 9 frames. So that's that. And on block it's only -2, so like you can backdash 3 times before your opponent can even press a jab. And like the reach of this move is also insane. Like standing it can reach from like about 50% of the screen, and with momentum a bit more. I think actually it does not have the momentum shenanigans, because like he actually does some vanishing act, so I think it's kind of hard to get that momentum buff. Okay, no, he does get a momentum buff. You can like make it reach from like about 60 to 65% of the screen confidently with the momentum, and like 70% somewhere around 70%, but confidently I'd say 65% is your best bet. So can reach from about 65% like with momentum, so that's a pretty good thing. And yeah, that's that, I guess. And up close is actually 9 frames of startup, so that's that. But like, and it's -2, but the further you make go, the later it reaches. Like it's not like Vegito where his distancing doesn't matter, it will always hit at 9 frames. So that's a weird thing that only Vegito possesses for some reason, but not the other characters. Hey, that's characterism. But yeah, it's a pretty good button. And like this also adds to the arsenal of you not being able to reflect hit and then punish him, because like he's gonna come back at you pretty fast. So yeah, and that's I think the only thing that I can add for the medium. Then onto the crouching medium, which is the low to well, that starts at 27 frames and -5 on block, therefore safe. You can stagger it, and you can even do double to him, because like it's that safe, you know. The only issue is that if they press a button, even a medium, even challenges with a medium, then you're cocked. The only drawback to that, frankly speaking, other than that, it's pretty good, you know. Like there is nothing wrong about it. And like it's 27 frames, it's a low, -5. What more could you ask? It doesn't need a low. And yeah, I mean that's about it, I guess. But I don't think there's anything more I can add about the medium button. It's a normal functioning medium button. Just the frame data is just a bit too slow. That's it. And reach, I don't think it's a normal reach. It's normal reach. I mean like about 10%, but like I don't think there's nothing to write home about. Does have a bit of like momentum buff, but yeah, it's whatever. And then onto the heavy button, which is I guess the furthest reaching button in his arsenal. It reaches from, it's like standing, it can reach from like about 60% of the screen. Yep, I think standing, wow, 70% of the screen. Standing it can reach from 70% of the screen, and like with momentum I guess even further beyond. So yeah, from and with momentum you can reach from like 90% of the screen. Damn, bruh. I should use this move more often when I play it. So yeah, like I mean with momentum he can reach from like about like 90% of the screen. So I mean with momentum you get thrown, I guess, a bit further anyway before you can do the move. So yeah, with momentum about 90% and with 60%, and normally it can reach from like about 70% while standing, I guess. So yeah, I mean that's a pretty good neutral button. I'd say you should use it. And yeah, that's about it for hits. Then hits 2H as well, which is 13 frames normal, and I don't think there's nothing more to add. I mean that many things to add about this move. Yeah, it can reach like a full jump height. Yeah, it can reach the peak of a jump height, so that's a good height to be able to reach. And yeah, it functions like a normal 2H. I don't think and it's fast enough to be part of a 2 block. So that's, I guess, everything I guess I can say about hit. Then onto the jumping buttons. The jumping buttons are also pretty good, with the light having the massive, I think the biggest reach among, I think Super Bully only gives run for his money when it comes to like sword normals, air sword normals, but I think hit is the second best. He can like literally cross up from point blank using his light button. So you get the point. And the medium button is actually a chunky boy. Like it actually has a really good hitbox, and like it hits like it has a lot of active frames as well. So like it's a good hitbox to like be able to also cross up. Like this can also cross up from like point blank, and with it having a like a further reaching 5M, really good reaching 5M, you can always confirm easily, even using the light button as well. It requires a bit of timing, but if you got the timing down, then you'll be able to confirm anytime. You cannot do an instant cross up to like the 5M. If you do it instantly, then you won't fall down in time to be able to confirm. So you have to delay the button just a bit before pressing the 5M, so you'll be able to confirm. And yeah, I mean those are like some heavy reaching buttons there, and like they and like the medium, as I said, like has a really good hitbox. So that's I guess and has pretty good active frames as well. So like you're able to like what do you call that, confirm or like challenge super dash in the air or something. Well, that they try to do. But frankly speaking, you have the air special. Just use that. Why? When will you use that? If not over here, I always use this. And then there's a down heavy, normal down heavy. There is nothing to like I think add to that. And the heavy is kind of atrocious, like it actually bounces it up a bit, so effectively allowing him to do a double overhead or like triple overhead. So you can do triple overheads with it, but it is all about overhead anyway. Why would you like, I mean, adding to this arsenal of like I guess overheads, even though like you shouldn't really block hit crouching. Like why would you crouch hit like when he has literally one low in his entire arsenal and it's 27 frames? Bro, react to that or reflect to that or reflect it. Like come on. So like it doesn't really help his mix game, I mean like the high-low mix game. So yeah, I mean that's about it I can say. So now I'll be showing you some like true block strings. I mean like his true block string is actually pretty simple, like doing the light auto combo. I mean till the second tier of the light auto combo, and then doing something like that. And like hit, as I said, like has a wide array of like being able to get back at you. He's like fully anti-reflect, as I've shown you before. Like you're gonna have to reflect a lot of times if you want to escape pressure, and even then he can just mix it up. Like so you're gonna have to like reflect X amount of times to be actually able to like get hit off of your tail. Like once you start reflecting, like every one of his buttons is like a sort of like built-in anti-reflect. And if they are reflect anti, then you can always just press on the boots. Like that's it. It's as easy. Like just delaying it just a bit. After vanish, if you reflect, then you can also do that, or just stands up. So yeah, Heath has a lot of anti-reflect string. That's the I guess main property or like main amount of what do you call that, the advantage that you have like towards him. Like I don't think you should be like striving for a true block string. Instead you should be trying to mix your opponent up. And now he has like a lot more tools to like be able to bait your reflex, because he can now do the cancels pretty fast, and before they can even like input reflect, or like you're able to input reflect, you're actually free. So you get the point. Onto neutral. Heath's neutral, as I have already gone through, he's a pretty grounded character with having like physical neutral. Like even though like a lot of his moves like show him like disappearing off the screen, he's not actually disappearing. He's actually there. His hitbox is there, and you can always like interrupt him. So even though like it looks like Heath like is like what do you call that, disappearing, but he's actually not disappearing, and you're able to interrupt him whenever you want. But the speed of his moves are pretty fast. So like they're like the thing that's really good about it is like even though he's full screen, he's like closes the gap instantaneously with his moves, like, and they're pretty fast. Like it's really hard to interrupt it. Like he's literally throwing a full screen move and like closing that distance at like 23 frames. That's not a lot of characters can do that. And then we having assist to back him up, and like he's literally at your doorstep like in an instant. So that's what he excels at. And then he also has the guard breaker in every one of his stances, which will allow him to like punish any sort of counterplay you might try to do, because it's a fully invincible move. Even if you throw out a preemptive super, he can always just punish it. He can even punish your super items, because like it's an invincible move. Even he like cannot touch him with his realized power, bro. Like I thought he realized his power. Apparently that's not the case. I mean, for the guard breaker, he actually disappears for a while. Hits neutral is literally just playing with the buttons you have and then keeping it safe, going into staggers. That's sort of it. That's, I guess, the hits neutral. I don't think there's a lot of things to add here. Then to avoid projectile, you can always just do this. Also closing distance like this, also like a valuable option. But as I said, like he is vulnerable while he's doing this, so you can always get interrupted doing that, so be careful of how you use that. And yeah, I think that's all I can say about hits neutral. Like I've said it in his button section, like he plays neutral physically, so using the stances to like get them out of the air, use the full screen reaching moves, and that's the, I guess, only way you can play neutral. He kind of sucks again, like opponent that like what do you call that, float around a bit, can float around and then has like a lot of good tools to like avoid his shenanigans. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer, but other than that, I guess. And one more thing that I'll add while we are still on the topic of neutral is that the Tides of Time is actually a physical attack. So even though like they'll not be able to like physically do like physically go through the move like the projectile invincible moves, but if they do have a counter, then you're kinda in for a treat, and like you might get full skin countered while you're trying to play neutral. So that's actually like works against you. So yeah, that's about everything I've said for each neutral. I think the rest you'll have to experiment and figure out how to approach neutral with it. It's morely you'll have to take a grounded approach most of the time, and then just to avoid assists, you jump around, and then if they try to approach you recklessly, use the counter and everything. Yeah, that's about it. So on to his assist collection. He actually has a really good assist collection. For starting off with the assist, it is the guard breaker. This assist actually has like the invincible property of the move as well, and like it is able to reach like about 30 to 40% of the screen. So you'll be able to make the assist reach from like about 30 to 40% of the screen to like 40% of the screen is, I think, is the maximum range to like 45%, I guess. So that's that. And like it also has like a block stone of about 29, starts up at like 26 frames or 25 frames, I think. Yeah, 25 frames. Therefore it's a pretty fast assist, plus it's actually also an invincible assist as well. So yeah, even though he'll lose to his own guard breaker, but I assure you it's actually like a DP sort of assist. And like if the let's say Gogeta is just trying to like throw a 5M at you, then you can always like call the assist and you can expect the assist to work it up for you. But of course, as you can see, like it's not invincible on startup as well. So like there is a window of opportunity where they'll actually be able to hit while he's trying to do the guard breaker move. But the good thing about it is that like it almost starts like at behind you almost. So like you might be able to get like favorable interaction sometimes, but sometimes it might be. I mean, it's not like Vegeta where you can like it's hard to hit the assist, but if you let it start up properly, then I guess you'll have like a good option to like be able to make it so that the opponent gets hit, because it's a DP assist with I think about like 4 frames of startup for the invincibility to kick in. And it also like has a really good amount of hit stun like every other assist in the game, like about 65 frames. A really good amount, frankly speaking. You're able to easily, I guess, do combo extension. Yeah, it's pretty good. That's and like since it has like a degree of stacking to it, you can also like be able to do stuff I think. So yeah, that's about it for the hit A. Onto hit B. Hit B is the instant blow. It's basically the medium cancel, as I've said before. If you've listened to the videos for this part, then you know which one is instant blow. So this is basically hit's replacement for a beam. Hit is a physical one hit beam with having a beam like hit stun. It's at 29 frames and like 30 frames of startup as well. I think, hey, they decrease the startup frames. Wow. So it's actually like a normal beam assist at this point. Like a beam actually starts at like 31 to 32 frames. So like it's his version of a beam assist, and on hit it actually also gives you a wall bounce as well. So it's a pretty good assist. I'm not sure why people don't use it at all. Like imagine you're floating and then you just see a character just suddenly appear in front of you and then hit you. Like it's a stealthy assist, bro. Like let's say you call it and then hit is suddenly there. I think it's a good assist. I think people should use it, not gonna lie. I mean, I guess yeah, frankly speaking, it does not have invincibility and etc, but you're getting a full screen assist. When is a full screen assist a bad thing? And it also has the same amount of block stun as the A assist, and like it's there's only a difference of 5 frames of startup. I think it's a pretty good assist now. They should stop memeing hit A. It's not good. I mean, it's unfair. Like this assist is pretty good, I think. Okay, no, the startup brick is actually now makes it easier to combo as well. So yeah, it's a pretty damn good assist. What the hell? What? Come on, bro. When did this thing happen, bro? Like I'm going to main this assist from now on. So yeah, that's for hit B as well. Then onto the most controversial character assist of this character, the hit C. Like hit players love it and hate it at the same time. I'm not sure what their stance is on this. Like people love it, people hate it. Like it's basically the two time release that hit does, and it also like has the the invincibility. The startup is definitely not first frame, and you might be able to hit out of it when he's starting up or when he's trying to release the times, because at that time he loses the invincibility. But for a portion of it, like he actually is invincible, so that's that as well. So yeah, that's also that. And it also has like the tracking, like the CS. I mean, like the Tides of Time, like the releases as well. It also has that same amount of tracking. And on the ground, it has like about 32 frames of block stun. Like I think this is the highest block stun among all of his assist collection. But I guess now they've improved the tracking on this, and so it's much more of a. So yeah, you can still make this assist wave. It's not. And the tracking isn't invincible as well. You can definitely thwart off the tracking, but yeah, it's good to catch jumping opponents, and I'd say one of the better neutral assists, I guess, because if you are allergic to hit B, because I don't know, it's a meme at this point. Even though hit B is such a good assist, like why are they sleeping on this assist yet? I don't get it. Even like Raptor himself made fun of us, like they're saying that we are giga chats for using it, bro. Like. The minority is like until they prove themselves in the tournament, it's just a meme, huh? But all jokes aside, that's everything for like hit. With that, the breakdown concludes. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully it helps you like play hit even better, and or deal with hit better, because hit is kind of a niche character and not a lot of people play hit. But the ones that do are a bunch of scrubs that will like either abuse their minus frame, abuse their like least minus frame. That they should, frankly speaking, but the way they do it is just weird. Like they do this, like they'll do the cancel and then reflect. Like that's so weird. Why they do that? But yeah, or do the guard break and then reflect. But yeah, it's what it is. Hit is a pretty cool character in my opinion, and one of the coolest characters in Fighter Z. Frankly speaking, like he's so unique. But yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for your time. Enjoy the comment section, and I'll see you in the next character breakdown video. Allah Hafiz. Assalamu alaikum.